You know that feeling when you say something and almost immediately you wish you hadn't? Maybe you overshared, maybe you let the wrong person in, or maybe, just maybe, you gave away a piece of yourself that should have been protected. Here's the truth. Not everything in life is meant to be shared with everyone. There are certain things that, no matter how much you trust someone, should be kept to yourself. Because when you hold on to these three things, you don't just protect your energy, you protect your power. And today we're going to talk about exactly what those three things are and why keeping them to yourself will change your life. Let's dive in. Life is full of ups and downs, and everyone goes through struggles. Some battles are visible, while others remain hidden beneath the surface. In a world where vulnerability is often seen as a strength, it can be tempting to share personal struggles with anyone willing to listen. After all, talking about difficulties can be cathartic, and seeking support from others is natural. However, there's a fine line between opening up in a healthy way and oversharing in a way that weakens your personal power. The truth is, not everyone needs to know your struggles, and in many cases, keeping them private is the best thing you can do for yourself. When you openly discuss your weaknesses with others, you expose yourself to interpretations, judgments, and sometimes even manipulation. Not everyone has pure intentions, and unfortunately, some people may use your vulnerabilities against you. It's an unfortunate reality that the more someone knows about your struggles, the more control they may have over your emotional state. Whether it's in the workplace, social circles, or personal relationships, revealing too much can put you at a disadvantage. You may think you're fostering connection by sharing your hardships, but in reality, you might be giving others a map to your insecurities. Another important factor is that struggles are deeply personal, and no one else can fully understand them the way you do. When you share them openly, you open the door to unsolicited advice, opinions, and even pity. People may offer their perspectives on what they think you should do, but those opinions often come from their own experiences and biases. What works for someone else may not work for you, and allowing too many voices into your decision-making process can cloud your judgment. Instead of feeling empowered, you may end up feeling even more lost, confused, or second-guessing your instincts. Keeping certain struggles private allows you to process them in your own way and on your own terms. There's also the psychological effect of constantly talking about your struggles. The more you discuss your problems, the more power they seem to have over you. Words are incredibly powerful, and what you repeatedly say becomes ingrained in your mind. If you continuously talk about your weaknesses, you reinforce them. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who is capable of overcoming challenges, you may start identifying with your struggles, making them a bigger part of your reality than they need to be. By keeping certain hardships to yourself, you can shift your focus from the problem to the solution, training your mind to be resilient rather than dwelling on difficulties. Moreover, struggles are often temporary, but if you share them with too many people, they can leave a lasting impression. People remember stories, and when you share a moment of weakness, some individuals may define you by that moment even after you've moved on. You might have overcome the challenge, grown stronger, and learned valuable lessons, but in the minds of others, you may still be seen as the person who struggled with that issue. This can limit how people perceive you, affecting opportunities, relationships, and even your own self-image. When you maintain a level of privacy, you allow yourself the freedom to evolve without being permanently labeled by past difficulties. It's also important to consider that not everyone is emotionally equipped to handle the weight of your struggles. While it's comforting to think that people will always offer support and encouragement, the reality is that some individuals may not know how to respond. They might feel overwhelmed, uncomfortable, or even distant because they don't know how to help. This can create a sense of disappointment and disconnection, making you feel more alone than before you shared. Instead of relying on external validation or sympathy, finding inner strength and resilience allows you to navigate hardships without depending on how others react. That being said, keeping struggles private doesn't mean suppressing them or never seeking help. It simply means being selective about who you share them with. Not everyone deserves access to your personal battles. Confiding in a trusted mentor, therapist, or close friend who genuinely supports your well-being is different from openly discussing your difficulties with anyone who will listen. Choosing the right people to share with ensures that you receive meaningful support rather than empty words or judgment. Privacy is a form of self-respect, and protecting your struggles is a way of maintaining your dignity. It's about understanding that your challenges do not define you, and that you have the ability to overcome them without broadcasting them to the world. The more you internalize this mindset, the stronger you become. Instead of seeking validation or sympathy, you cultivate an inner resilience that allows you to face adversity with confidence. In a world that constantly encourages openness and sharing, there is immense power in discretion. Not every battle needs to be public. Not every hardship needs an audience. By keeping certain struggles to yourself, you give yourself the space to grow, heal, and emerge stronger without unnecessary external influence. Life will always present challenges, but how you handle them, whether privately or publicly, determines how much control you retain over your own narrative. When you guard your personal struggles wisely, you safeguard your strength, your peace, and ultimately your power. Your dreams and future plans are some of the most personal and sacred aspects of your life. They represent your deepest desires, ambitions, and the vision you have for yourself. However, one of the biggest mistakes people make is sharing these plans too early or with the wrong people. While it may feel exciting to talk about your goals, doing so can often lead to unnecessary obstacles, doubt, and even failure. Keeping your future plans private is not about being secretive. It is about protecting your energy, focus, and momentum. When you share your dreams with others, you open yourself up to their opinions, judgments, and skepticism. People, even those who care about you, tend to see the world through their own limitations and fears. If your dreams are big or unconventional, you may face discouragement from those who don't understand or believe in your vision. They might project their own doubts onto you, saying things like, "That's too risky. Are you sure that's a good idea?" Or, "I don't think you can pull that off." Even if you started with strong confidence, hearing these doubts repeatedly can create insecurity. Over time, you may begin to second-guess yourself, wondering if your goal is truly achievable. By keeping your plans to yourself, you prevent the seeds of doubt from taking root before you even begin. Another danger of sharing your future plans too soon is that it can create a false sense of accomplishment. Studies have shown that when people talk about their goals, their brain releases dopamine, the same chemical associated with the feeling of achievement. This means that simply speaking about your plans can give you a premature sense of satisfaction, making you less likely to take real action. You might feel like you've already made progress just by talking about it, which can lead to procrastination or a lack of urgency in actually pursuing your goal. Instead of spending time discussing what you're going to do, focus on taking concrete steps toward making it happen. Additionally, sharing your plans can sometimes invite unnecessary competition. Not everyone you share your dreams with will have good intentions. Some people may secretly feel envious of your ambition, and instead of supporting you, may try to discourage you or even sabotage your progress. In certain cases, if you share your ideas too soon, someone else might take inspiration from them and act on them before you do. It's not uncommon for great ideas to be stolen or executed by someone else simply because they were spoken about too early. When you keep your future plans private, you maintain control over your own progress and protect yourself from potential setbacks caused by others. Keeping your plans to yourself also allows you to maintain flexibility. As you work toward a goal, you may need to make adjustments along the way. When too many people know your plan, you might feel pressured to stick to it exactly as you initially described, even if circumstances change. This can limit your ability to adapt and evolve. On the other hand, when you keep your plans private, you give yourself the freedom to make changes without feeling like you have to explain or justify them to others. Your journey is yours alone, and it should be guided by what works best for you, not by the expectations of others. Another reason to guard your future plans is that not everyone will understand your vision. Some goals are deeply personal, and their significance may not be clear to anyone but you. If you share them with people who don't see your perspective, they might dismiss or minimize your ambitions, making you feel like your dreams are not valid or important. This can be discouraging, especially if their reaction is indifferent or unenthusiastic. Instead of seeking approval or validation from others, focus on believing in yourself and taking consistent action toward your goal. When you finally achieve what you set out to do, your success will speak for itself. Furthermore, the more you talk about your plans, the more pressure you put on yourself. When people know what you're working toward, they may frequently ask for updates, expecting to see progress. This can create unnecessary stress, making you feel like you have to meet external deadlines instead of working at your own pace. Sometimes the pressure of having to prove yourself to others can become overwhelming, leading to anxiety or even a loss of motivation. By keeping your plans private, you allow yourself to work in peace, free from the weight of outside expectations. Of course, this doesn't mean you should never share your goals at all. There are times when discussing your plans with the right people, such as mentors, trusted friends, or like-minded individuals, can provide valuable support and guidance. The key is to be selective about who you share your dreams with. Only open up to those who genuinely believe in you and have your best interests at heart. These are the people who will encourage you, offer constructive advice, and help you stay on track without imposing their own fears or doubts onto you. Ultimately, your future plans are yours to nurture and develop. They require focus, commitment, and the right environment to grow. When you keep them private, you protect them from negativity, distractions, and unnecessary obstacles. You give yourself the space to work quietly, make progress without interference, and achieve success on your own terms. Your dreams deserve to be guarded, not because they aren't worth sharing, but because they are worth protecting. When the time is right, when you have taken action and achieved results, the world will see your success without you having to announce it in advance. Relationships and personal conflicts are among the most delicate aspects of life, and how you handle them can significantly impact your emotional well-being and overall happiness. While it may be tempting to share the details of your relationships, whether romantic, familial, or friendships with others, doing so can often create more harm than good. Not every aspect of your private connections needs to be discussed openly, and in many cases, keeping certain details to yourself is the best way to protect the integrity of your relationships. The same applies to personal conflicts, as sharing too much about disagreements and issues with others can escalate problems rather than resolve them. One of the main reasons to keep your relationships private is that outside opinions can easily influence how you feel about someone. Every relationship has its ups and downs, and conflicts are a natural part of human connection. However, when you share these conflicts with others, you invite their perspectives, which are often based on their own experiences, biases, and personal beliefs. Someone who has been through a bad relationship may project their negative experiences onto your situation, making you doubt a relationship that may actually be healthy. Others may not fully understand the context and may offer advice that is neither helpful nor relevant. The more voices you allow into your personal matters, the more complicated things can become, making it difficult to see your relationship for what it truly is. Furthermore, relationships are built on trust, and one of the quickest ways to damage that trust is by exposing private details to others. When you openly discuss your partner's flaws, family issues, or friendship conflicts, you risk breaking the sacred bond of confidentiality. People in your life expect a certain level of discretion, and when they discover that their personal matters have been shared without their consent, it can lead to feelings of betrayal. This can create unnecessary distance, resentment, and even the breakdown of relationships that might have otherwise been strong and lasting. Keeping certain things private helps maintain mutual respect and ensures that those you care about feel safe confiding in you. Another reason to guard your personal conflicts is that most problems are temporary, but once they are shared with others, they can leave a lasting impact. Suppose you have an argument with your partner, a close friend, or a family member. In the heat of the moment, you might feel hurt and decide to vent to someone else. While this may provide short-term relief, the people you confide in may not forget the negative things you said. Even after you and the person involved have resolved the issue and moved on, others may still hold on to that image of the conflict, forming judgments about the individual based on one bad moment. This can create awkwardness and tension in future interactions, especially if your confidants begin to view the person differently because of what you shared. Keeping conflicts private allows you to handle them internally without creating unnecessary long-term consequences. Another major risk of openly discussing personal conflicts is that it can make small problems seem bigger than they actually are. When you repeatedly talk about an issue, you reinforce it in your mind, making it feel more significant than it may be. Instead of focusing on finding a solution, you might find yourself caught in a cycle of overanalyzing the situation, reliving negative emotions, and seeking validation from others. This can make conflicts harder to move past, even when they could have been resolved quickly through honest communication with the person involved. By keeping personal conflicts within the boundaries of those directly affected, you increase the chances of resolving them constructively and efficiently. Additionally, not everyone who listens to your personal matters genuinely wants the best for you. Some people thrive on gossip and drama, and the details you share in confidence may not always remain private. Even those who seem supportive may unintentionally spread information, leading to misunderstandings, exaggerations, or unnecessary involvement from third parties. When too many people become aware of personal conflicts, situations can quickly spiral out of control, making it harder to resolve the original issue. By being selective about what you share, you prevent the possibility of your personal life becoming a topic of discussion for others. Additionally, not everyone who listens to your personal matters genuinely wants the best for you. Some people thrive on gossip and drama, and the details you share in confidence may not always remain private. Even those who seem supportive may unintentionally spread information, leading to misunderstandings, exaggerations, or unnecessary involvement from third parties. When too many people become aware of personal conflicts, situations can quickly spiral out of control, making it harder to resolve the original issue. By being selective about what you share, you prevent the possibility of your personal life becoming a topic of discussion for others. Unfortunately, not everyone who listens to your personal matters genuinely wants the best for you. Some people thrive on gossip and drama, and the details you share in confidence may not always remain private. Even those who seem supportive may unintentionally spread information, leading to misunderstandings, exaggerations, or unnecessary involvement from third parties. When too many people become aware of personal conflicts, situations can quickly spiral out of control, making it harder to resolve the original issue. By being selective about what you share, you prevent the possibility of your personal life. That being said, this does not mean you should never seek advice or support when dealing with serious issues. There are times when confiding in a trusted mentor, therapist, or close friend is necessary, especially in situations involving emotional distress, abuse, or major life decisions. The key is to be mindful of who you share with and to ensure that the person you confide in has your best interests at heart. Seeking guidance from someone who is experienced, objective, and trustworthy can be beneficial, but openly discussing every disagreement or relationship challenge with multiple people is rarely helpful. At the core of it all, the relationships you have in life are your own, and they deserve protection from unnecessary interference. When you keep personal conflicts and private matters between yourself and the people involved, you allow your connections to develop naturally, without external pressures or unwarranted opinions. You also maintain a sense of dignity and control over your own life, ensuring that your personal experiences remain yours to manage. Privacy fosters trust, respect, and a deeper sense of understanding in relationships, while unnecessary sharing can weaken those very foundations. In the end, the strongest relationships are not the ones constantly discussed with others, but the ones nurtured in private, with mutual care, respect, and open communication between the people who matter most. In a world that constantly pushes us to share everything, there is immense power in privacy.